I don't know. That looks like maybe three-quarters of the way down the back of the store. It's crazy how long it is. Well, over here in California, the toilet paper in Costco's gone, and so is all the bottled water, and so are some other staples, if you will, are already gone. So I went out this morning. I said, we're going to go pick up some stuff. People are already panic buying, and there were things that I couldn't find. Shopping the grocery stores, big holes in the shelves here and there, and it was. Wait, we're on the West Coast. How, but, I guess people are asking the question. It's like, what is it going to impact? What products? What product lines? And truthfully, it's pretty much everything, right? There's no way to say it's not going to impact anything. People say, oh, the bottled water comes from here. It's bottled right here in California. Yeah, but where do the bottles come from? Did they get them here? Did they manufacture them here? Probably not. They may be manufactured overseas. Maybe they're trucked in a shipping container from China or whatnot. So it's going to impact a lot. And the longer it goes, the bigger the impact. And the question that I think a lot of people will have right now is, okay, who is it benefiting? Republicans, Democrats? Which one? And you can look at it both ways. There are benefits kind of either way. So then you have to take a bigger look, a wider view of it and look at it and say, okay, what is it really going to do? What's the bigger picture here? Because the Republican Democrat stuff is kind of low level, right? They're playing at a much higher level now. And, will it interfere, big question, with what's coming 31 days from now? And the answer is absolutely it will. If you're fighting for food and water, right? Trying to get your family fed, are you really paying attention to the election? Are you really going to worry about voting? Right, so it could be part of the plan to create this big distraction, and it's really sad that they're doing this in the wake of the hurricane, because we've seen the videos now from North Carolina. Boy, oh boy, what an area of destruction! It's crazy. And then also we're seeing now other states like Tennessee, and I've got some things to share with you on that. And, the team now is in Florida. They arrived last night, the Unity Tour team. As you guys know, just bringing to your attention again, Unity Tour was canceled on Monday after the stop in Albany, New York. Lewis looked around and he said, are we doing everything we could be doing right now to be supporting our community? And, the answer was clearly not. At that moment, no, it wasn't. And so what could we do? And, this hurricane had just happened over the weekend, and they were getting so many messages of people struggling left, right, and center. So he says, you know what? We're headed to Tampa anyway. Let's just turn the convoy around and head there now, ahead of time. So they drove. It's like, 24 hours of driving. It's a long ride from upstate New York. Albany is a couple of hours north of New York City. Got to go all the way through New York City. Got to go all the way down, and they couldn't go 95 straight because of the destruction in North Carolina. So they had to actually go around, and it was a big detour. It took them a lot longer than they thought it would. But they arrived last night. They got a good night's sleep, and today they're in the streets and helping out as much as they can. They went to a Walmart and they went to a Costco, it looks like. I'm going to show you some photos in a minute here. Lewis's wife has been taking photos, so other people on the team taking photos have been sending them to me, and I have not had a chance to put them all together, because guess who else was out shopping this morning? Yep, that's what I was doing. Going to pick up supplies, making sure we have what we need in the case of shortages. And I saw quite a few holes in the shelves, like I said already. Interesting, the panic buying, how quickly. I always ask people this question. It's like, if look at the grocery store that you go to, whatever one it is. Look at how much bottled water that they have on the shelves. They don't really have it in the back anymore, right? There's no warehouse in these stores. The stores are the warehouse, right? That's the new thing, right? In the last 20 years, instead of having stuff in the back, they bring everything they've got on the shelves, so they're not constantly restocking. So how much bottled water do they have in the grocery stores? How long will it all gone? Within hours. And they didn't get new shipments in, and when they got new shipments in, bang, gone again. So it makes good sense, right? I've always been saying this, to have, 30, 40 gallons of water on hand to get you through 2-3 weeks, 4 weeks if you need to, where you're not going to be able to get it. It's not they can't go out. It's that it's not there. And now with the shipping strike, the longshoreman strike, yeah, it kind of brings it to the forefront, doesn't it? It's bringing it to the point where we're starting to look and say, wow, we really should have been listening. We should have been stocking up, right? So yeah, we'll be going out again tomorrow, and that kind of thing, and looking for whatever else we can get our hands on, and make sure that and we're on the West Coast, which is really it's really interesting how the media is playing this. Now, I ran into a couple of people who had no idea. Truly, they watch mainstream media. They haven't heard anything, but I think the vast majority, they're aware. They know what's happening. Why do they know? Because, we see them in the store. We see the lines. And I didn't even get near the Costco today. The parking lot was completely full. It was like Christmas Eve, right? In Costco, you go there in the Christmas rush, and it's like it is totally jam-packed. There's no parking space. That's the way it was today. Normally midweek, it's busy, but it's not over the top busy. It was over the top busy today, right? People are panic buying already. So put that in the back of your mind. Say, it's time to do something. October is going to be a rough month. Everyone that I know has been saying, we're going to see some things that we don't expect to see. Did we expect this strike, by the way? Was it on our radar? Not at all. All of a sudden, it was 24 hours, they're going to go on strike. And sure enough, now they're on strike. And they're not pulling back. They're not negotiating right now that I know of. There was one offer tabled, I believe, just before they went on strike, and it wasn't enough. It was only a 50% hike in their salary. They want 77%. So they're a long way off. Who knows how long this goes on? The longer it goes on, the more of an impact it will have. It's going to mess things up quite a bit for all of us. And you might say, well, I don't know. I don't really buy anything that's imported. One of the conversations I had this morning, I don't buy anything that's imported. Truth is, we all do. We don't know the components of everything that we buy, how many of those pieces are imported, right? You might say, well, I'm buying an American car. Great. That's an easy one, right? Where are all the parts coming from? Well, you got some from Brazil, some from Mexico, they're all coming in from all over the place. A lot of that stuff is coming in through the ports, is sent here on ships, in shipping containers. And pharmaceuticals, a lot of them, pretty much all of them now, are not manufactured in this country. Computers, same thing. So the longer this goes, and of course now, as a retailer, you'd be thinking about the Christmas rush. Do we have enough inventory for Christmas? And we've got a problem here. So the challenge now is if the government forces them back to work, which they can do for 90 days, they can force them back to work because they could say it's a national security issue and force the workers back to work. They say, the workers, the union boss said yesterday, I played the video for you, that if they do that, they're going to work in slow motion. Whoa. So you're still going to have backlogs. So he said something like, hey, normally they're going to move 30 containers an hour, and now they'll move 8 if they're forced to go back to work without a contract. So they'll do a work slowdown. And it'll still jam things up. So you're going to see a lot of ships docked offshore. That costs a lot of money. That ship's got to keep the generator going, the diesel generator that's on there that creates the electricity for the motors and keeps the crew warm and all the rest of that kind of thing. They got to keep those going. Plus, that crew's got to be paid, and that crew has to be fed, and they have to find a way to get food over to the ships because they only have so much. They don't have an unlimited supply of food on those ships. So again, the same situation we had back in 2021. You're going to see a lot of ships offshore, docked, and unable to do anything. Some companies will send them over to the West Coast, but that is a lot of money. That's a lot of sailing to get over to the West Coast. The West Coast will be jammed up, right? Because they can only handle what they can handle, and they can't handle 36 ports worth of additional volume. That's not going to happen. So it's a little bit of a mess. They are literally holding the country hostage. Now, who knows? What's the play behind it? I'm watching. I want to know. I want to know the bigger picture, right? Is it just another distraction, another disruption, if you will? Because I think they realize they're not going to win this election fair and square. No way. And a lot of people were saying this morning, here we are 31 days out. It's already in action. People are already voting. All over the country, people are already voting. Mail-in ballots are out already, right? So, yeah, whatever it is, what it is, and it won't be fixed before then. Buckle up. It's going to be a rough 30 days, I tell you. It's going to be something we're going to have to really, really, really pay attention to. All right, what else do I have for you? Got some crazy news here from... well, you know what? Before I'm going to go into that, let me just tell you about the person that made the Unity Tour happen and keeps our show on the air too. Matt Geiger from Verity Metals. Should mention him and give him a plug here. If you're one of those who are thinking about, hey, how do I protect myself financially? We're thinking about that. We're also thinking about food and water, right? We've got a lot of things to think about, and you want to invest in gold and silver. He's your guy. He's the guy to talk to. Very transparent, very easy to speak with. He can help you convert your IRA or your 401k to a bulk gold and silver backed account. And you can reach him just to get your questions answered. Don't even have to have any idea that you're going to actually invest. If you've got questions, he's happy to get on the phone and answer them for you. 480-717-9081, or visit him online, veritymetals.com. And he has a new thing there where you can schedule a phone appointment with him. So if you say, I want to know when he's going to be in the office, you could schedule it. He's got a calendar. You just pick your date, you pick your time, and then he'll call you at that time, and you guys can have a 45-minute conversation. Absolutely no high-pressure sales at all. All right, we have some crazy stuff happening. Oh, boy. Where is this button? I got too many buttons here today. All right, I'm going to jump past that a little bit. The FCC went out, they put out, I guess it was a request for bids to a lot of the alternate internet service providers. In other words, where I am, they can't drag fiber optic cable. They can't drag copper cable, way too far from any city place, and the houses here are sometimes half a mile apart. It just doesn't make sense. So they're not going to do that. So the FCC went out and said that we're looking for companies that can provide internet to these rural locations. You know who they said couldn't qualify for the grant? Elon Musk. Yeah. So Elon Musk says, and it's highlighted here in red, I don't know if you can see it, if they have been qualified for this grant, in North Carolina there would have been 19,000 Starlinks already set up. Instead, they're not there, except if the individuals bought them, and you have a lot of people right now who are struggling. So he said, had the FCC not illegally revoked SpaceX's Starlink award, it was $825 million, I think it was, it would probably have saved lives in North Carolina. He said, lawfare costs lives. True. You know, every action you take there's a reaction, right? Some intended, some unintended. So every decision you make is so here's a decision. They say, well, we're going to revoke I think they give it to them, then they revoked it, $800 and something million, and they were going to do this. They were going to put these Starlink dishes in. So now the consequence is you have a natural disaster. Landlines are destroyed. Cell towers are down. Cell towers only go a few hours. They have battery backups and such. They can only go about 4 or 5 hours before they give up. And they stop working. I know, we had it here in San Diego. We had a power outage. Major. The whole entire county of San Diego, power went out. Now, within 4 hours, there was no more cell phone. Right? There was no more internet because we had no electricity. And all the routers and all the switches and all the things that make landline internet work, all those were down. They were gone. Of course, that time we didn't have any battery, so we didn't really have other than a laptop to plug in, but you needed to plug into that. You needed the router to work, and you needed all the routers all the way down the line to work to make it work. So internet was out, power was out, cell phone went out, and all of a sudden you start to look and you say, wow, this is kind of weird. We're really disconnected, seriously disconnected. I know what it's like. Now you can imagine North Carolina. We were disconnected, but we still we didn't have a natural disaster. The power went out. Not the end of the world, right? We still went to bed. We still had food. The refrigerator, you try not to open it, that kind of thing. Inconvenient, but not detrimental. Now you look at North Carolina and you say, okay, here's a hurricane that went through, did a lot of damage, ruined a lot of houses. People are missing. They're pulling bodies out up there in Asheville. A lot of them, apparently, from what we're starting to hear. But they have no way to communicate. The police don't even have a way to communicate with each other because all their towers are also down and not working. So Elon has been sending Starlinks in there. I think he sent 2,000 units in there. And today he went and said, he posted this 4 hours ago, Starlink terminals will now work automatically without the need for payment in the areas affected by Hurricane Helene. Hard to hate the guy, isn't it? Like, really, I always judge people by their actions, not necessarily their words. These actions are pretty good. I like this. The Starlink terminals are going to work without payment in that area for the time being. That's really helpful. So you've got them. He's sending them in. Donald Trump talked to him, asked them for more. He's ramped up production. Apparently, they're building more of them. So they're putting them out there. And they're hooking up the police, the fire, they're hooking up the residents. There are areas where the Starlink router is there and it's got a little Wi-Fi network, a little hotspot, and anybody can connect to it. You don't need the system, you just connect to the Wi-Fi, which is the Starlink, which goes up to the satellites and gets you connected to the world. Important to tell your family, hey, we're okay. The house is gone, but we're okay. It's important to do that kind of thing. So that's what's happening there. And the other news is Red Cross and FEMA are again confiscating donations. Where did we hear this before, guys? We heard this before, right? We watched what happened in Maui. And what's interesting in Maui is I don't think we as a country really paid attention, maybe in the way we could have or should have, right? I think the challenge there was it was so far away. It's in Hawaii. If you get on an airplane, it's a 5.5-hour flight to get to Hawaii over the ocean, right? You're flying over water for such a very long time. And we didn't really pay attention. We didn't pay attention that so much of what was donated was actually confiscated by FEMA and Red Cross. They would not allow people to go in and help the people who are suffering. Literally, they wouldn't do it. Come on, this doesn't even make sense. Well, look what happened, I think it was yesterday in North Carolina. The helicopter pilot with his own helicopter, pilot's license, former fire guy, former police officer, knows the ropes, knows everything. The fire chief, he wanted to go back up and rescue this man. He rescued the wife, and he was going to go back to rescue the husband. And the fire chief says, if you go back up there, I'm going to arrest you. But they didn't have a plan to get the husband out. So he went back up there and he got his son, who was his co-pilot. Could only put 2 people in his helicopter, small helicopter. So he went back up, he got his son, then he left the area. The fire chief was threatening to arrest him because he was rescuing people. This is the craziness that is. And now we're seeing it again here with FEMA in Tennessee, threatening to do the exact same thing. Here's a Tennessee resident filling us in on even... Wow, I was just enjoying that along with you guys too. Whew, crazy stuff. Somebody mentioned, I was looking in the chats, is it Miss Beth? Let's see. Forgive me if I get the wrong, but apparently people in Florida have flood insurance for a lot of this stuff, and the people in North Carolina do not, which is true, from what I understand. All right, I'm going to give you the address. You want to write it down, and if someone can put it in the chat room. My stream didn't fire on Renegade Media channel today, so sorry about that. Sometimes that happens. So ship all the supplies. The address is 3115 Adrian Avenue. Adrian, Adrian Avenue. 3115 Adrian Avenue. That's in Largo, Florida. Largo, Florida. 33774. 33774. I'll post it in the comments below as well, and I'll make sure that you have it. And I believe if you're on the email list from ScrewBigGov, and if you're not, go over to ScrewBigGov and get on the email list, because that's how we're keeping in touch with everybody. You can go over to screwbiggov.com and get on the email list there. Just sign up for the newsletter and you'll be on the list, and then they'll be sending you updates and all that information. There's also a list. Thank you, Denise Bliss Phillips, for sending it. There's also a list of things that are needed, and you could help with that. You could send, like I said, you'll be able to go on Amazon, order, and then ship it, have it shipped to that address, and you'll be helping out. Or you can go to the Give, Send, Go address that's just below, givesendgo.com/SBG3, and it'll get there as well. Just trying to see if I have any other photos. No, that's all they sent for now. So, wow. Then also I'll remind you, if you want to follow me, I'm at renegademedia.tv and at Renegade Media on Telegram. I've been posting up a lot of stuff there over the past few days because there's so much going on. It's hard to keep up with it all. All right. I was looking to see if Lewis was going to pop in. He has not. That means he's got other things going on, or maybe on an interview on another channel. I want to let you know a couple of things before we wrap up. The event in Tampa is still on. It looks like everything will be okay for Saturday. So that is the finale of the Unity Tour. And it's going to be, well, we don't know how many people are going to show up, but there are a lot of people who registered for it. Hopefully everyone who registered will make it over. We've got 27 speakers from what I understand. It's going to be a full day event. And there is an after party, which is really cool because you get to hang out with the staff and hang out with all the speakers and stuff. And it's only $33 to attend that. And that pays for your food and pays for the entertainment. And I think Ethan Lucas is going to be there with his band, and there'll be live music. So if you enjoy that kind of thing, it's a lot of fun. The networking alone is worth the price of admission in my book. It's going to be a great event. I will be here in San Diego, and I will be hosting the stream and popping in from time to time, probably do a presentation if I need to fill in between speakers or whatever. I'll be online. I'll be on the stream all day and keeping you guys informed and giving you the best experience you can get if you're not able to make it there. Like me, if I wasn't here, I wouldn't be able to do the stream. Literally, if I have so much equipment that I need to make that stream happen, that if I was there in Florida, honestly, I wouldn't be able to do anything. I'd just be one of the participants, really, and maybe a speaker. So I figured this is how I can make the best use of my time. All right. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. All right, I think that's all I have for you today. There's going to be a lot more. Like I said, there's going to be more information coming up. I'm going to bring you everything I have as it comes out as well. I think Lewis is busy, and they've been sending me stuff as they get to it. I spoke with Andrew earlier this morning, and he said you would not believe the amount of need that's there. So if you guys want to help out, the link is there. It's in the bottom here. Donate to the Helene victims. GiveSendGo.com SBG3, and this is mostly going to the people there in Florida because that's where they're at right now. So we'll do the best we can. We can't be everywhere, but we're certainly there. Excuse me. Thank you for watching today. I really appreciate you guys. And it's 100+ degrees here today. Don't ask me. It's October. The weather everywhere is a little bit crazy. Stay tuned.